We're ready? All right. Good morning, everybody. I don't have a gavel. The hay is drying, so. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from the May 3rd meeting? Moved by Dave, seconded by Dan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right.
So the first thing I have today is our 2022 plow truck purchase. We got the quotes for the trucks this year, and it's $299,733 per truck. Last year's cost was $30,000 less than that. So we are short about $94,000. We also budgeted $108,000 for a mower tractor that we're not going to be able to get this year. So I just wanted to let you know I'm proposing, hopefully, to use that money to buy trucks because of supply. We won't be able to get them all.
You got last year's truck here?
Nope, we usually get them in September.
You did in September.
No, we've been ordering ahead, so are these actually 2022, or did we order in last fall, the 2022s, and needed the, actually, because didn't we put extra money in because it was gonna take so long, and we bought them ahead of time?
I thought so.
So we used to buy them in January, now we buy them in December.
Oh, that all just 1 month?
Okay.
It still saves money.
Huh?
It still saves money.
Oh, I understand, but this is actually 2022 trucks?
This is the trucks in the
Or
2023
2023.
budget.
2023.
Should be
Well,
ordering them in 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll probably be 23 model.
They're actually
Or
24
24.
months. Yeah. So yes, these are the trucks that, and that's the second part of this. These are the trucks that we would order in December. We got the price now because we have the rebates, the $40,000 in rebates. And we would like to probably order them as soon as possible instead of waiting until December. For two reasons. One, to get on the queue, and the other is we have to have them in order to use that $10,000 rebate for each truck.
So, and does that work, Al?
Yes, sir.
It works.
In the northern part of the county, the town's contract to mow. Could that be done in the southern part of the county, and maybe you also need this mowing tractor if you change that southern part of town to have a contract?
So we do have contracts throughout the whole county, but we've been losing the towns quickly because of the cost of mowing, and we haven't upped our things, so we hope to address that in the budget. But that's something to consider for that.
Last
Just paying
update
more.
the rates when Jim Lindsay was here, he wanted us to update the rates because it's been many years since it's been updated.
One of the, just a comment on your thought, which is good. The northern end of the county has fewer miles than the town, so if they buy a mower, they have the time to mow county roads. But like Argyle's got over 100, we've got close to 90. We barely can get ours done, so you never get time to work for the county. That, I mean, some, that's gonna fall into some towns, maybe not all of them, but I don't know what the mileage is in all the towns in the southern end, but I know somebody like Daryl, he's very fortunate to have less miles.
I'll look into that.
So the work we did last November, we ordered them in December ahead of time to beat the price increase. We'll get them this September.
Yes,
And so we're even ahead of last year's curve by talking about this now. The order will go in June,
yes,
but we will probably won't get them until next summer.
next September-ish.
Okay. and
Maybe around.
Between the ones you ordered in November and the ones that you got the bid on now, it's gone $30,000 since then
Yes.
per truck.
And that's with that and rebates coming up. That's why she wanted to get them going, because we didn't budget that high because nobody anticipated the jump that they were gonna take, so.
Do you have any idea how many of us as towns piggyback off your bid for these trucks? Do we all pretty much use you?
Well, we're going on the Onondaga contract, and I think some of the towns do that as well.
Same thing.
Yep.
It's the same contract.
Yes.
which is probably used by a lot of places as well.
Yeah, it goes through the whole state, it's a little, to my
It'd
knowledge.
be
it's
hard
less
to get,
common.
yeah, it could be unusual to get a lower bid considering the size of that on-dog contract and it will piggyback on it, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the second thing is, I've had this discussion with my highway superintendent. Last year, he did an analysis of the time and effort mowing for the county. He said we lose our shirt on that deal.
Somewhere south of it.
And, yeah, somewhere south of that. And he is very reluctant at the current rate to consider doing it again. He said if it was close, he wouldn't worry about it. He said, but it's not close. So that probably needs to be addressed, what, sooner rather than later?
I can only do it in next year's budget. though.
You've been budgeting.
We're gonna take the whole time.
Or you can add it, you want to add some money in my budget? Is that what
Okay.
you're saying? What's the difference?
Zero
Then I
sum
gotta
game
find the
versus.
line. All right, I'll
We
look into
know,
that.
so, because the town's mowed twice.
Yep.
I don't think we've mowed yet. Plus, the rule has a weird thing that you must finish your second mowing by a certain date. Which is, we kind of thought was a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know what the theory in that is, what, maybe it was just so that people didn't mow twice in September and just get it over with. I don't know if there was some sort of history on that. I'll look into it.
So I think we keep on running different subjects then. So the first thing was you need to move money from the 104 for the more tractor into the purchase.
Well, I don't need to move
No.
any money because it's all in the
Same
same line.
point.
Good, got that. The second is you're looking for approval to order trucks now.
Yes, I
Okay.
guess, like
She just wrote.
No, how many?
four.
Four, meant $300,000.
It's over $1 million.
What are the specifics of the truck? Who makes it? What brand? What added things are the saddle tanks? What's the specifics of the truck?
So this is the first time that the actual, what is it called? Not the cabin chassis was less than the plow and box. And I think it's because the plow box is stainless. There's a lot more steel on it. I think that's got a lot to do with the reason for the increase.
Stainless or not? Have you been doing that?
We have since before I got here.
Few years.
The question is, we're not messing around with regular gold stainless. You get 5 to 6 more years out of it.
Yeah, we had quite a discussion and debate on that going to the state.
You got the money, it's great.
So we need a motion to be able to buy the trucks early, right? This order now.
Accept the bid.
I kind of just, do I need a motion or do I just like get your blessing?
Kind of informational. The money's in her budget and she's going off of it, so there's really no action.
It was in the budget.
It's in her budget.
That said, this is what we were.
She's not getting any new money. She's really just letting you know that she's deferring the mower and using that money for the shortage on the trucks. Just, I mean, it's more transparent than anything. Once her budget's passed, she really doesn't need to come back. It's more for,
When the price jumps first came up on the trucks, that was debating whether to drop back to 3 trucks, but then found out that you can get a tractor, you just can't get one. So they're that far out. So she figured she might as well move the money for that.
But I think you need a motion here to accept a bid.
it's not a bid that we let, we're piggybacking.
Even though you're piggybacking, we don't approve things. That's kind
To
of
award.
an end run around the oversight process.
Oh, all right, so,
You know, I don't just want anybody to piggyback on everything before you know it's got 1.2 million.
we'll come back to you.
Well, she wants you to give her approval, so,
But Al says we don't need it.
well,
I think we do, we should.
It's in the budget.
Doesn't matter. If we have things in the budget all the time, we approve a bid.
you want a legal opinion.
Okay, Dan, go ahead and give me it.
No, I pointed it in.
Well, you're awarding bid off the fee.
We're not awarding it
It's
yet.
not a bid that we let, why would we award?
Well, you're not awarding it, but you're approving it. You've always approved expenditure of these trucks, even though it's been in the budget. That's happened since I've been here at least, it's longer than anybody else did.
But when we put stuff out to bid, we bring it in and we say, okay, this is the high bidder and all that stuff. But this is different or this is the same?
It's the same, it's the
Well, I
same
mean-
idea. You're still approving the purchase, whether it's by a bid award or by approving the purchase otherwise. You've always, on the big ticket items like those trucks, you've always done.
Right, the precedent set, there's no
Right.
policy per se,
I guess
because
that's
where's the
where-
line drawn where we do and don't do it, there isn't it. You're saying as a general rule, it's probably reasonable thing to do.
And every superintendent has come in because that way, when somebody shows sees $1.2 million in new trucks out there, somebody says, where did those come from?
It's in the budget.
The answer would be you approved it.
Okay, so I
They're
have
in
this,
committee.
I have the piggyback and all that stuff, so can we put forth to award it at the next, or does it go to finance?
You would just like your committee to award that.
Right, it's
We just want the committee to
This,
approve.
this is not a bid
Truck.
award that comes out of the board, it's a committee approval that comes out so that the committee's on notice and the oversight function has been exercised. The money's in the budget, but that somebody knows that you're actually spending the $1.2 million.
Okay, Dave has made the motion, Daryl seconded, Mr. Fisher second.
Discussion?
No discussion.
Deb, I'm concerned, and maybe you can explain this to me, and maybe it can be out. Get money in the budget for a tractor mower. You can't get the tractor mower, but you need a tractor mower. Well, as I recall in our machinery fund, where we've run into problems before, we've robbed the money that we didn't spend. I'd rather keep that in the fund for that tractor mower, so when you do get it, we have the money for it. And that the shortfall should come out of fund balance. Otherwise, when she can afford that, or when she can get that mower, get it ordered, we got the money for it. We spend the money, we don't have it for the tractor mower anymore, then we're gonna come up short.
But she'll have it in the upcoming budget in September, she'll
She'll,
put that
Will
money
she?
in there.
she'll re-put it back in.
That's what she
But
said.
in theory, if you needed the tractor mower now, there's something else she will need in next year's budget. See, that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to hurt your budget in the long run or your machinery trade out. I don't know if I'm making clear on that. If it costs more for the trucks, we spend more, but keep the money in there for what we thought we needed last year when we did the budget. Just a thought. I mean, if you say that's crazy, then I'll drop it.
But Deb, if the tractor mower is not available now, don't you still have to order it now?
They
So that
won't.
when it is, so that you're on the line to get it?
Yeah, they won't let us order anything right now. Let's see. They won't even give us a price. They gave us a price for an articulated one, which we don't want. The flail mowers, the flails that go on the mower as well, those are out for a year. And we're told that there's no guarantee that we would get one in under a year.
Was this one dealer or?
He went to Case, John Deere, Tiger.
Because we ordered one from Capital Tractor.
So that's what I asked him about. So we are looking for 110 horsepower with a 15-foot cut width and special tires. Tires. So that's why we're having trouble finding exactly what we want.
Well, with your theory, Dan, where would these take the $94,000 short?
Well, the only place you can take it now.
Which is already,
That's what I thought.
So we're compounding our problem by robbing that 108,000.
no, she'll just come back to you at budget time with 4 trucks and a mower for 2023.
Well, what would she have bought in 2022 if she got the mower this year? That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm sure there's something else she would have needed. Now we're putting ourselves back a year on that. Just a thought.
Dan, you're not wrong, but if you remember my presentation, Brian and I promised to come to you at some point this year because road machinery is in trouble. We want to talk to you about that before we get into 2023 budget. This, in my opinion, is the best path forward. I applaud that for trying to not rate fund balance now. Because we do have to have a bigger conversation. I think you're gonna have to feed road machinery some general fund money, to be quite honest with you, for the sins of the past.
Didn't we put $1 million in there back, 6 years ago, 900 and some
We
thousand?
took it out.
Put it back. I put it back. I was budget officer when I put it back.
The money that you put in was to really buy the trucks. It didn't help the fund at all.
I hope the fund, if you put 900 some thousand, even though you bought trucks with it, I mean, I did put $1 million back.
I always to get into the December really nice cycle, so it went out the door as fast as it came.
Just concern, whatever you guys want to do, I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
I still don't know who makes this, is Western Star, Volvo,
These
who,
are
internationals, do they have saddle tanks on them? Is there anything different with this model than what we've had before?
There's nothing different with the model that we are getting this year. So the trucks that we were buying in the past were getting too big. The turning radius was too hard on the drivers and they don't fit into our barns. So I went and did a lot of research. Jimmy was with me to try to figure out why we were buying these trucks. And we found a different model that has a more sloped nose, and because we're getting automatics, they're set. We also got setback axles. We buy more what the town buys now, because we're able to do that, and it will fit in our barn and have better turning radius. So they are not different than the ones that we were buying this year, but they are different than the ones we were buying in the past.
The internationals, because we got a $10,000 rebates from the mess up before,
Yes.
that had to be
Yeah.
applied this year to those. That clean them all the
It
rebates
does.
up?
It does. So after that, we're gonna have to go out to bid or go off.
And now automatic is more expensive. We had an automatic because we had one road that was problematic. But are we now going to automatics on everything? Is that the new trend?
Pretty much.
Three are automatics and one's manual,
Well,
right? Is that,
so we budgeted for 3 automatics and 1 manual, then we did all the research on it, and we want to get all automatics. If we get a manual, we have to go back to that other model where the axle is not set back and the plow sits out farther and the turning radius, and
What's the difference in the price between automatic?
it's 20.
20,000. Some of our drivers are only automatic qualified too. And that can be a problem.
Well, if I plow over the snow, I think it'd be crazy to plow snow with a standard transmission, but that's just me.
They tend to like the automatics for
I
year
plowed
round.
with the standard.
And that's just a little driveway, I could
plow
imagine
with the
doing.
standard, I know that.
Any more discussion on the motion? I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
Another reason we switched brands was, I think the internationals have, single frames. And the other ones were double frames and they were rusting out a lot.
The bigger ones.
Yes.
Anybody else? All in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed?
I sent out the carpool auction results. I'm sure you guys are all impressed with that. That's the usual tip. And then the new list to go to auction.
And then tell me the numbers again, I keep forgetting how that works. The first two is the year.
Yes, and then the next 3 are just our internal tracking numbers. So we know, who's got what. So those are results from the last auction, and then on the new auction, we had to retire our bucket truck. It's a very sad day. We really need the bucket truck. I forget what they're called. There's kids in Mike Gray's department that use the bucket truck. The towns use the bucket truck, but the bucket truck has died.
Not good.
Who's your answer?
John,
That's what we borrow that when we can to take care of some cut back on trees or whatever. It saves us a lot.
go ahead, John.
On ready for auction, do we have the years of those?
Yes, the first 2 numbers are the year. So the first one is an 09. The bucket truck was a 97. The ambulance is a 98.
What did we use ambulance for?
That was our paving truck.
Oh,
So,
okay.
And now we
Yeah,
got a
the trailer.
new trailer.
We bought it used, must be, or did we buy a new ambulance working the paving?
No, I'm sure we did.
It's 24 years old.
Yeah, but I didn't know we bought used vehicles.
No, it came out of, well, I don't know where it came from, honestly. I wasn't here when it, but I can, oh no, he's on vacation. I can get you that answer. But not at this moment.
No, just curious.
Well, as far as used vehicles, are we gonna look for a used bucket truck down the road there?
So I found a used bucket truck. It's like $86,000. Which may be cheaper than a new one. I don't think so, but I was shocked when it was 86 for a 2016.
What do you do now? Does the DPW use it, or is it just people like Mike Gray?
It was more often not us that used it. We did use it.
Just
Yeah,
for the sake 86,000, get you a used 16. What's a new 2000?
She doesn't.
Oh, you don't? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say that.
Does any town or village have a bucket truck you can just feel stuck? I think the village, our village.
I was gonna say, doesn't
We
Granville
do,
have
just,
one?
they just upgraded theirs. I think they use ARPA funds to get a better bucket truck.
Oh,
I would think they would probably let you borrow it in the greater area if you needed it, but
Yeah, I was really concerned about Mike Gray because they use it every year for the kids to go out and do what they.
Has Fort Edward got a bucket truck? Yeah, I thought I've seen it down there. The village area.
That's
We got
close
two.
by.
Is there a motion motion to approve the sale of the, so moved.
So moved.
Second by Dave. Any more discussion?
My only concern is we're getting rid of this. What are we replacing it with? Like the ambulance, you said that's used for paving. Do you have another? We have,
Model trailer.
oh, that's gonna be the replacement. Okay. So you got replacements for everything but the the bucket truck, and now you've got two ideas there.
Yep.
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I only have one quick thing. We got our, as everybody did, our potholes program budget amendment. So I was hoping we could do that.
Motion to move that to finance. Moved by Dave, second by Dan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you have a question, John? I didn't know if I missed.
No, I just went along with everybody. I do have a question before Deb's done.
Down this one, so.
And all kidding aside, if you want to talk about dealing with the mowing problem now,
yes.
the amount we put aside to settle the Teamsters contract was a little bit more than we needed. So there is a way to kind of have that conversation without hurting her 2022 budget. If that's something that needs to be addressed sooner than later.
All right, I'll look up a number.
You're talking about a new number for mowing contract?
Yes, sir.
And would that be retroactive to 2022? Like, because we've already signed contracts. Towns have signed contracts with them.
Legal issue.
Could be, I mean,
Can you amend the contract?
not saying we can amend the contract.
We're signing the contract.
You can always
I've already
pay the
signed
town
one,
more. I won't push back on getting a bigger check.
We accept all donations.
Left pocket, right.
Okay, but if Randall didn't accept that contract because of the rate, for a contingency on how those roads will be mowed in Granville.
He gets a better rate, maybe he'll do it. If it's not superintendent, maybe do it.
I think that behooves the county to do that.
No, but here's a valid point. If there are towns that didn't sign contracts, what do you do with those roads? Are they ever about?
Oh, our
County
guys-
do it or you
Our
sub it
guys
out?
are doing,
Yeah, I don't think we got contracts yet.
our guys are gonna try to get to it.
Our mowers in weak.
Ours is good. They get some heck of a beating,
Oh,
especially when they mow trees.
Yep. your highway superintendent has done an analysis, maybe there's a number you could recommend to the county what you think it should be and see what they offer.
I talked to him.
Since you've done an
He
analysis,
did, yeah.
save a lot of time to
You-
go back and forth.
We have that by finance, and we make a decision at finance, so we don't have time right now to make a decision.
I can get some figures by finance.
Probably can do that. We need to know sooner than later if we're gonna do it, so.
That's why I brought it back up, Chairman, just in case.
Yep,
Good idea.
so you want to officially move to this, or just, we're gonna do it anyway? Do we need a motion to move the discussion to finance on contracts on mowing, or?
Only if you want to have the weight of this committee saying we want it, which
I'll
I'm
make a
sure,
motion to move it to finance.
which I'm sure will matter a lot.
Yeah, all the ones that are have a contract.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
The bigger the extra donation, the better.
John, you had a question for Deb?
Yeah,
Yes, I was wondering what their status is on our paving. What we've got done, where we're moving to next.
So, we got Salem done, we got Kingsbury done, and we've milled up in Granville. And I think we're doing 16 and 12 next, but I'll check on that. I know we're doing 16 next, and I think 12. We were kind of set back by permits for our culverts. The permit, the general municipal permit ran out, and the new process is many pages and 45-day wait. So,
Really? In the DEC.
Yeah.
And yours doesn't expire, they're like 3 years, aren't they?
it was a 10-year permit, and I guess it usually just renewed, and it didn't renew, and there was no notice sent out that it wasn't going to renew, and it caused a lot of havoc for our paving program, but we're trying to do whatever we can. We're working with Karina, actually, because Soil and Water has a general municipal permit, so she's generously helping us out. We were supposed to do a culvert on County Route 61 so that we could pave that one first back in mid-April, and we're doing it tomorrow, so it set us back.
Do you know, is the anniversary date the same for everybody?
I believe so. I can send out some information about it.
Were you paving next step?
I think County Route 16 in,
So we're all milled, what we just, we,
oh no, we're paving that, and then we're gonna go into 16. They're just finishing up.
No, you're gonna
today.
drive
well, they
on
did,
the road.
I was gonna say, they milled it on Thursday, and then they're off on Friday, then there's a holiday weekend, so I've got a couple. Why did they mill it?
Do you want Jimmy's number? to-
No, I told them, don't worry, just be patient. It's coming.
Slow people down.
It does. It
Let's leave it that
really
way.
does. It really does.
Where's 16? Isn't that like road to nowhere and Fort Hamm goes up to
Yep.
Dogtown or something?
We only have a little bit of that left.
Well,
It's a dead end road,
well,
but it's
Hampton
really
is the only
super
one I
long
thought
road.
to have that. Road to nowhere.
Bridge to nowhere.
No.
Hampton has the road.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have anything else for Deb?
Holy.
Oh, sorry.
Missed it already. Because you moved it to finance, how do you figure that rate from all? Because Kingsbury is one of the towns that no longer.
Yeah, they
mows, right?
dropped out a while ago.
So what is the rate that you need?
So
per
the way
mile?
I figured the rate, honestly, is I just put the same rate every year that was in there.
Right, but what's the measurement? What do you
Center lane mile,
Single lane mile?
Yes.
center lane.
Center lane mile.
Does the state have a rate?
I don't think so, but I'll check.
I remember when Jimmy brought motion up to increase it, it had been forever, never changed. And I think
Jimmy,
we're in that same,
James Lindsay?
yeah, so I think we're in the same situation, it's been a long time, but that's probably, I want to say, 10 years ago.
2017 is when it was last updated.
I just want to ask our highway superintendent.
2017?
Would work for him.
Okay. He was one of the first ones to drop out after.
Yes,
we
he
started.
was. Yeah.
Each town is different number of miles.
Yeah, it's the same rate, it's just different number of miles in each town.
And you'd want a uniform rate for the whole county.
It is a uniform rate for the whole county. It's per center lane. So
Is it any different going in Kingsbury than it was in?
it's the
same?
same, it's $10 a mile, which is.
No, is it the same?
$10 a mile.
The air smells fresher in Kingsbury. That's all I can say.
No, is it easier or harder in different places? The more rural, maybe it's harder. I don't know.
Your biggest issue is guardrails.
That's what I'm wondering.
If, who's got the most
If you don't have
guardrails?
much guardrails, Dana's got a ton of guardrails, maybe it's harder. I don't know. Or you gotta do them.
We spray the guardrails now.
You cover the gas a little on the guy's time.
Well, it's
We
not.
brought to
it's
mind
like
the
a
SROs
thousand
and
something.
SPOs, they all have rates in each town that they contract with the sheriff, but it should be the same way all the way through.
See, in somewhere there's more of a shoulder, you gotta make 2 passes on each side to get the shoulder on them. I've seen that. And maybe it irons itself out in the long run, I don't know.
And each town uses their own mower, their own labor, and their own gas.
Yes.
And blades. Blades are
Blades.
expensive.
Yeah,
And insurance when they hit the car that's driving by.
Is there a uniformity to the quality of the job that's done, or it's sort of, it's like, done or it's not done, that's all there is to it?
Yeah, if it's not done, we don't pay,
No, but I'm just wondering,
because that's happened.
has it?
It just says twice a year, but his parameters of what the first mowing is, the second mowing. And it can't be after a certain. Like Jeff said, you don't want to mow the road twice in 2 weeks, or say you mow it twice.
you gotta be careful you don't mow too early, you'll kill the asparagus. Everybody used to pick asparagus. along
How many
shoulder.
miles did you mow total? Yeah.
Well, we have 284 miles of road, but I don't think we mow that much, but I can find out. That would be part of the whole thing.
Deb, could we increase our herbicide program, maybe? And mow chemically?
We discussed it one time, and I don't know what the outcome of that was.
I'll ask our
She
herbicide
had
guy
somebody
what
that
the rules
got
are.
the training.
Because
You sent a guy for training, I think.
yep, we had 2 guys certified to do it, and I asked him the other day, why aren't you out there? He goes, because the rules, it has to be this tall and blah, blah, blah.
Because I think part of the discussion, you're talking about guardrails, was that the spraying would help with guardrails because it's easier to spray them.
I think that spraying just does under the guardrails, and we still, once a year, you gotta mow beyond the guardrails. That sprayer, you can't do everything along just with the spray, I don't believe. I think you gotta mow it at least once a year, right, Deb?
Yes, yep. And one of the things that's coming up is the endangered monarch butterfly, so we may not be able to mow as much as. There's no guidance on that yet, but it's under consideration to endanger the monarch butterfly. And we've been in talks trying to figure out how we can wrap our heads around that. Like the state has medians, and they may be able to not mow their medians the same way they do now, and that will create more habitat for the butterfly. But we don't have medians, so it's more difficult for us to try to address the monarch butterfly potential situation.
Yeah, save the butterfly, but the poison parsnip spreading like wild.
It's true.
Maybe you can offset it by having a butterfly farm somewhere, just say that, you know, for everything we kill over there, we're restocking like pheasants almost.
And you can do that if we have county-owned land, that plant milkweed on it.
Now we're really getting into the weeds here. We got to move on.
Thank you, guys. See you at finance with
They do
lots
that
of
with
numbers.
wetlands all the time.
Jason, welcome to the hot seat. They're warmed up for you now.
He wants to
That's
point out,
what I grew.
Good morning, Al. The danger zone. Morning. Thank you for having me. Okay. Do I do that? So I have a few agenda items here, working with Al's team. Resolutions that are going to be required to establish budgets for not only the capital project that I have going on at the wastewater treatment plant. We also have budgets, requirements for our septic receiving and dryer and specs. So budget for Route 197 bridge force main replacement project we're looking at. So the first item, Mr. Chairman, is establishing a budget for the wastewater treatment capital budget. This budget will be established based on our SRF cost exhibit and change orders to date. This is in consideration of what we approved last month with our town interfund borrowing and our SRF financing. We should be able to disperse on our SRF financing on June 16th. So we've made it through all the proper boards at this under the state revolving fund program under EFC. So my understanding is we'll be able to disperse for June 16th. So yes, there is the potential or possibility for that interfund borrowing that I requested last month, the $2.5 million. But Barry and we've received the invoices to date for processing from Wendell plus Schultz Construction. So I know you have in front of you a spreadsheet of the capital project. At that spreadsheet, you'll see that we have the first table, which is what we call our energy performance contract. And that's all the work that you'll see that's being completed under this phase of the capital project. And under that, the second table is our general construction contract. That's the contract that's in direct contract with the county. We call that concrete contract 21. The total cost for the contract is approximately $14,791,294.50. That includes both contract 21, second table, plus the first contract. This is inclusive of about $1,007,000 in contingency that we have. So to date, we've completed approximately about 10% of the total project cost for a total project. And what you don't have in front of you is what the SRF program uses for what we call the cost exhibit. It's called cost exhibit C. And that breaks down, if we look at the overall project cost between the first phase and the second phase, total of $25 million. So they pull everything from the beginning to present, right? An estimated project cost, and then they break it down, what is eligible, what is ineligible. And what we currently have for our budget total funding is approximately $14,239,282. That's subtracting out all the co-funding and different grant programs that we've received, plus looking at the total project cost of $25 million. What I want to go to too is the change orders, right? To date, we have 2 change orders that include our aeration basin valves. You'll see in your table, my table. So there's aeration basin valves you'll see in your table in the amount of $106,128. In my investigation and going through this process and project, that aeration basin valves was ineligible under the energy performance contract. I could not show an energy savings. But I was able to, since we went to public bid on concrete contract 21, when formal bid is to place that into that contract. So the aeration, the addition of the aeration basin valves will be in there. And they were also, another positive is that of accepting it in that contract is it was in our construction notes. So under the public bid. So that was kind of a safe zone that I was looking at from an engineering perspective, that the construction notes were in there that identified the process valves and the other apparatus and any of the buried pipe installation. So that dollar amount, that's change order 2, totaling $72,000 on that. the second contract or the change order is the Schultz contract. That's where I was speaking last month on the shoring redesign, because we did hit ledge at the grit tank. We had to look at a different engineering design. We hit water approximately 75 feet. We brought the shoring up to around 50 feet, 50 feet on 3/4 of it, and 25 on the other depths, due to ledge and water. Looking at the dewatering too. So that change order is at $68,386. So what I'm asking is to establish the budget based on the change orders, right? Cost of Exhibit C and what you have in front of you at your table. And that total dollar amount that's set is approximately $14,791,294.
31-year payback, so it'll be replaced by that. It's not faster than 4 years. Maybe, I don't know, but this is so that the county can accept septic from septic tank haulers that pump out your septic tanks. The county doesn't provide this service now. This is a new service that would be provided.
For item number 2.
For the septic.
Septic receiving. So that was taken, that no longer is in the project. So septic receiving and dryer was removed from the total project scope. It's not included in your table cost. That only
Okay,
includes.
so I thought 14 million was for that.
No, that's a separate item that I'll discuss.
So we're not gonna do that now, we're not gonna, so everyone now goes to Queensbury, I think.
Well, there's different, Lake George and different septic. We no longer accept septic at the plant. But it was in design, right? So there's a cost before my time. And that's approximately, you'll see in your table here, which would be excluded. You'll see the design of remove scope, the 227,319. So Wendell still needs to be paid no matter, even at 30% design. So they made it through engineering. We went through design at 30%. And at some point, a decision was made prior to my arrival that we would no longer add or keep in the scope septic
Does
receiving
anybody remember that?
scope.
Well, that's what I was just gonna bring up. They did it for years.
For years. they did.
Yes,
Right,
and that's,
Supervisor.
I thought it was gonna be back in, and this is the first I've heard that it's not gonna be. For
But it-
what reason?
Well, it's more of the combined sewer and the existing system itself, the infrastructure, right? I think the regulatory agency wants us to make improvements both at the wastewater. So when I look at post-construction after this capital project, that may be a project scope that we can entertain and present to the regulatory agency for approval down the road, because I can look at it now and estimate a dryer is going to be $8 million, right? Septic receiving is another $8 million. So you're looking at about $16 million from just in that scope of work. At
So
this
was
time.
that removed because of the cost, is what you're saying?
I think one of the decisions, right, I wasn't here, but I believe it was due to cost, but also regulatory concerns, because as you know, the infrastructure is extremely old. And the upgrades that we're looking at the plant, both from the influent to the effluent. What I'd like to do is revisit this, because that's a lot of money, right? The county spent a considerable amount of money investigating, right? $227,000, and you're at 30% design. So what we would need to look at is post-construction, monitor what the work that we've done over a year or two, see how our process is, our adjustments are being made at the plant, and then maybe entertain the idea of receiving, because it is a revenue, right?
It's a big revenue.
It is a revenue.
And Washington County is very rural, so
There is the opportunity, Supervisor, for that to come back and look at that option. But it was excluded out of this current scope.
Take a while to pay back 16.
I'm sorry.
Takes a while to pay back 16.
Is there a motion to move to finance to establish a budget for WWP capital project.
Move, second that.
All in favor? Oh, Lynn has a question.
I know you've done the analysis of this. And so my only question is, what are you expecting rate increase to be, or do you consider it minimal because of the financing and all the different programs that you're eligible for? Or will there be a major rate increase?
Well, my understanding is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, now, go ahead.
Their ad valorem right now will support this debt service. They don't need to change rates.
Okay,
We wouldn't, to my knowledge.
yeah, well, that's good to know. I mean, I want to make sure everybody's aware of it.
On the debt side. I'm not speaking to the O and M side. On the debt side, they're covered.
Correct.
Good to know.
Correct.
Okay,
I appreciate that, supervisors. Thank you,
all in
Mr. Chairman.
favor? Opposed? All right,
So we talked about the subject receiving too, Mr. Chairman. So
Yep. yeah, that's what I was gonna do, so Dave makes a motion. Fisher makes a second, any discussion on that? All in favor, aye? Opposed? And you're
My third one, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Supervisors, establish the budget for the Route 197 Bridge Force Main project. This is the project that started back in January. We had the emergency failure of the 3-inch force main on the bridge. That's a 3-inch ductile iron force main. What I'm looking at, and I'm working with Labella, Sean Doty, myself, looking at estimates of that and establishing a budget. Now, I just want to brief you quickly. We had obstruction, right, for some period of time on the east side of the bridge. We also had failure of the aeration valve that's at the center of the bridge. Plus, we had seasonal adjustment failure at the pump station. With that said, me looking at this closer, with the failure and concerns right now with waters, with DEC, with canal, and continuing this as an emergency situation and our lead times, I needed to take a step back and look at this in terms of how can we prevent this from failing again? Well, this particular line did not have any heat tracing on it at all. So it was exposed to different elements. Yes, we had it insulated. Yes, could we have made adjustments at our pump stations for seasonal flows? But there's no power, right? So what I'm looking at it as more of a belt and suspenders approach this time around, meaning heat tracing, meaning different material. We're using stainless steel because of the lead time, or SD21 PVC. Just require more elements of hangers, tapping into the electrical canal for the power that you need for the heat tracing, instrumentation adjustments at the pump station. So my budget right now, I'm estimating high value at $444,000. What that will do is about $70,000 of that is upgrades at the Bridge Street pump station. That will all the controls, automation, SCADA will be upgraded at the Bridge Street pump station. Heat trace, different materials, stainless steel will be less joints, right? Prevention of new weather. So looking at it in that approach, in creating this budget, I want to be on the high end. My plan is to look at, after we complete the specs, is send that off to heavy civil contractors, 4 or 5 heavy civil contractors to give us a price of what it would be. So high end, I'm looking at approximately $444,000 from a budgetary standpoint. And I recognized from the supervisor from the county, we looked at this in 2018, and we put in approximately, Mary was, we did that, was it 102, what was the dollar amount we had?
Approximately $135,000.
That we invested in that line at that time, but there was no heat tracing. There was insulation, ductile iron used, Megalugs used for joints. But we didn't have the belt and suspenders, that protection a frost or what have you, or heavings in those
Will
lines.
that be a larger main?
Nope, it'll be 3 inch, but my ductile iron lead time is 8 to 9 months. My, depending on weight and material, PVC at 21 is at least 8 to 10 weeks out.
You don't anticipate any increase in development on that side of the road? I mean, the village goes over there quite a bit, doesn't it? I mean.
On the island, to the island, the future, no, my main concern of all this is with
One
DOT
ninety-seven, I'm thinking
197.
190. Well, I'm thinking
You're talking
over,
by Stewart's.
by Stewart's and Port Edward,
I'm on the other,
Hudson River.
yeah.
Don't stand
Yeah.
there.
Canal,
That's
which
perfect.
is our-
Yeah,
That might still be the New York Canal Authority, even though it's not the river.
yeah.
No, well, why would it be? The canal's left Hudson River.
Yeah, because there's no lock, the lock is south of that, so why
Right.
would that be?
That's canal, that's their, on that side, on the east
Maybe
side,
it
that's
goes the
all.
wharf from Port Edward there, maybe that's.
It's the depth and the warp
Canal controls that.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
They used to dredge it and everything else.
for dredging.
You say this is a 3-inch diameter pipe?
Yeah, it's an
My
odd,
toilet bowl is bigger than that.
it's an odd
How can that,
duct.
how can you flow any sewerage through that?
3 inches, yeah.
No wonder you got, what?
I'm not gonna see.
Well, you have obstruction on the east side for a period of time. If you have your check valve, those floats that are in that check valve, right, that are blowing the air. So in reality, the way it should work from an engineering perspective, your bridge is here, right? So anything, when that pump shunts off at Bridge Street Pump Station, all flow should go back, right? And everything should flow back to the pump station. It should be completely that there should be no sanitary in that line at the bridge at any time, other when that pump shuts off. When that pump shuts off, no sanitary.
That pump is a grinder too, so
That's what I was wondering.
it's a slurry.
Okay.
Hang on.
There's 2.5 horsepower pumps in there.
Field trip.
They're
Go
minor.
for a field trip. You'll see it with our own eyes.
We've got time this morning, we have an hour.
So this
Stand under the
is,
check valve.
Chairman,
You go report back.
We're gonna have you stand under the check valve.
And I'll go back there and say it's too small.
mhm.
What's financing for this project?
This is going back to what we have on our agenda. We'll have 444,000 that we'll put in for budget, but what I wanted, that will come from our capital reserve. And our capital reserve is at approximately, your capital reserve is at 1.179 million. There's two ways that I approach the board of the commissioners, my board of commissioners, for looking at this. My general fund's about 750,000. My capital reserve is about 1.179. Understanding that I had this emergency repair that we needed to make, right? Plus septic receiving that was ineligible that we had to pay. The approach is that we take it from the capital reserve. But I needed to create a budget sales office for those disbursements.
Is there a motion to create the budget? Second, Darrell. Any more discussion? Dan?
Just one question. How does it work if the state was going to come through and replace that bridge? Because there was talk of it over the years.
I know.
They repaired it. Do they replace that on their dime, or is that something that we have to spend the money on if they do?
Well, ideally, right, looking at this, because that was my main question, supervisor, is that when do you plan on replacing this? And I called DOT and DOC, they have no time frame or schedule of replacing that bridge, which still makes me a little nervous because we make this large investment, $500,000 investment, or do I look at directional boring? Directional boring is going to take a considerable amount of time. I have early quotes on directional boring, but that's not plans and specs. They can probably directional bore under the river for probably 100,000, right?
Oh, wow.
But the outlets of that directional boring of what this infrastructure that I need, I'll be in the Stewart's gas pumps by the time I need to get where I need my locations are. So we need to look at that and investigate that, but I can only present to you today what we have on the ground. And make adjustments for an emergency situation that we need to correct as soon as we can.
Dana, do you have a question?
I think he answered, but it only goes to the island, so it's the first bridge. It doesn't go over to Saratoga County.
No, that's correct. Just goes over the first bridge, and then when you get to the the second bridge, let's say from the east side, the Bridge Street pump station is right there to your right if you're heading west.
More discussion?
Jason, similar conversation this morning. Do you have any interest in waiting till you know the number before you move the budget?
For the Bridge Street?
The 444 is a guess at this point, right? You
Well,
still don't know
no,
what it
that's
is?
from no, it's not a
Pretty
guess,
solid?
that's solid.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was.
This, I expect this to go down if I use alternate material. This is a stainless steel price.
So no, I heard you say you were going out to bid, so I didn't know if you wanted to wait till the bids came back or.
No, we'll send this since this is under emergency situation, once I finalize this and looking at alternative material, I'll send that on to the heavy civil contractors. I'm hoping for better pricing, but with the economics today, it makes me a little nervous where we're at, but I'd rather be high.
And a question I always ask, is the commissioners on board with all this?
Most certainly. Yes, this was all presented at the commissioners meeting last month. Go ahead.
No, the motion's been made.
Yeah. So all in favor of moving this budget to finance? Aye. Opposed?
I want to give the supervisors an update on our next step with the sewer district. As we all know, the governor's office has made an announcement on the consolidated funding application opportunities. So I want to look at those opportunities for the sewer district and the benefit of the sewer district and what opportunities that are available. We're looking specifically at 3 opportunities now, and for Al's sake, in terms of we have a stormwater sewer separation project that we're looking at in the village of Hudson Falls. It's the LeClaire, LaBerge, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm announcing what's wrong, but on Notre Dame Street. We're looking at sanitary rehab and replacement on those streets with stormwater separation, which will help the impact of eliminating the stormwater entering our system. The second one we're looking at, I talked about this in my evaluation, was development of a capital improvement plan for the sewer district. So that will look out 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. It'll be a roadmap for the district to look at capital planning, look at operation and maintenance, and having that security year by year and help me with budgeting. So this is a great way or a great opportunity in a planning document that I can use going forward. And the third one we're looking at is sanitary sewer replacement in sewer district number 1. And that's the I&I issues that we have in District 1. And that estimated cost is right around $1 million that we're looking at for the slip line replacing in sewer district 1. So I'm looking at, I understand it's more of an economic zone, sewer district 1, but to bring economics to the sewer district 1, we need to do that I&I and par, because those flows go to the wastewater treatment plant in Glens Falls, which they require any time with their sewer ordinance that your system's maintained, you're properly maintaining your infrastructure. So this is a way of showing that too, that we're investing, we're moving forward. So that's another grant opportunity that we're looking at. But that's more of just an FYI informational, Chairman, what we're looking at for application submittals. And I'm working with the Chris Belden and his team too, with Beth Ellis at the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board. And I thank them for their help, the sewer district, and moving those forward.
Any questions? No?
You know, I have one in this, maybe before your time, but it also might, you might be aware of it and can answer. There was an article like a year ago in the Post-Star about stormwater into the Hudson River and affluent after the storm. we've been discussing this and trying to correct it for last 10, 15 years. I mean, we've been making improvements. Overall, would you say, in your opinion, that in the last 10 years, we made major improvements to reduce that? Because I've had people tell me after they read that article a year ago in the paper, they don't swim in Hudson, they used to. But I think it was worse a few years back and it's better now. And I'm just wondering what your opinion is.
Well, I think the dredging and all the water quality for every impact street by street that we do within each one of the municipalities or within the sewer district is, improving the water quality.
Right, so it is improving.
It is improving, right? But every little project that we do, minor, and that's why taking advantage of these grant opportunities is the best approach, because we can do, when I meet with the regulatory agencies, we can do street by street. When the system is extremely low, the regulatory agencies recognize that. So wherever we can, and that's it, that's another point. If you're a municipality within the sewer district and you're aware of a sewer or a water replacement project, I want to know, because then I want to enter in with stormwater and replacing our sanitary, because that's the only way we're going to be able to achieve the improvement of the overall water quality of the Hudson River and the canal water. So that's the approach. But what we need to do is the post-construction monitoring. So every time that we do have a project, just like our large capital project, that has to be monitored and is a requirement, is in our permit that we do that. So within the next 2 years, I will have, the capital project will be completed in late 2023. And I believe I have 1.5 to 2 years in the permit to show the regulatory agencies, meaning DEC, what this has accomplished. But any project that we've done up to this point has assisted us with that combined sewer overflow and sanitary separation.
When you do file it with the CoStar, so that you can give us something rather than something.
I will do that.
Can't sell your camp.
I tried to sell my kid. I'm just saying that people actually said to me, they read that article a year ago, and now they won't swim in Hudson. I deleted it 10 times better than it was. But they just, CoStar never really shares the positive side. They love the flash and bang of it all.
And
I have a budget amendment, one additional budget, I have a budget amendment. I spoke to Al about this, and the request is to amend the current EFC funds budget that we closed already. So the first phase, just so the supervisor have an understanding, the OO, right, was the first phase of project. That went 5 years. We completed that first phase of work. After 5 years under the state revolving fund program, the plans are done, the engineering is done, the plans are done, construction is completed. So they give you that 5 years. And what they do is turn that over what they call long-term financing. So this appropriation rate is the requirement of being able to amend that financing from short-term to long-term in the appropriation. So it's going from increasing the appropriation on 9710,613 under the general to 218,330, and then decreasing that appropriation 9730,601 to 105,000, and then overall increasing the appropriate fund balance to 113,330. That's Al's language.
So the short story is that at the time of the budget, we were in short-term financing, which only required 2% of the outstanding debt. This now reflects that short-term going to long-term over the 30-year borrow.
Is there a motion to move the amendment to finance? Moved by Dave, seconded by Dan. Any questions on it? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Supervisor.
Jason,
Yes.
you ready to do that in Kimber's office?
No,
You want
on the request. No.
to check it out?
Thank you very much.
Anything else to bring before the committee? Thank you, gentlemen. We'll call it again.
So they pointed out, I've done